That's all. Simple.
I'm Randall. I am in the nursing program at the end of my last 10 weeks before graduation. What I expect to get out of SGA is increased student advocacy here on the college.
I've been. My name is Bria. I am a part of the Human Services program here at MATC. And the reason why I am a part of student government is to just increase advocacy, as he just said.
I'm an Shaquille Wright. I'm part of the IT with Software Development program here. My expected to get student government is just season changes in school.
I did. You're going to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Shakura. Nice to meet you.
So, student government, that's what we're about. We're about student advocacy for those who don't know. We go to Madison, we talk to our senators about the issues that are often brushed over, which are technical colleges. A lot of things are happening within the technical college system that a lot of people don't know about. We've gone to Madison, we talked to them about the DACA rights, the Higher Education Act, things of that sort. So if there's anything that you see that's affecting the college as a large, that would be a great thing to bring to us and that we could take to Madison and present to our state reps and those who have the ability to change law. So yes, but we also do some fun things that represent the students, because I want you guys to realize that student government is the umbrella student organization. So we should have people, a diverse group of people who represent what MATC looks like and what MATC stands for. And that's who we are in a nutshell. Okay, so I have a question. Does this time work for y'all? Like Mondays at 1 or?
No,
What time's best?
I don't know. You guys plan to send out a survey monkey?
Yeah, we're gonna send out a, but I just wanted to get some feedback on the time.
Yeah, I'm not even on campus on Monday.
Okay.
And I guess, Madam President, we, for the first meeting, wanted to keep things consistent to what it has been, to at least kick things off, and then see what possibly would work best. Starting with the executive board, because we know we can't have meetings without them, and then going down from there. But most importantly, we wanted to know or have that consistency of what we've done for the past 3 years, just at least to kick the meetings back off. Same with DSS is going to operate the same way, at least for the first couple meetings, and then see what really works for everybody's schedule. Because historically, those meetings have been, is it the first Friday or the last Friday of the month? One of the Fridays of the month. But then there was a lot of students that said they don't have class on Fridays. So is that the best time to hold DSS meetings? Or I'm sorry, DSGA meetings? Talk about that.
I had a question. I would have thought that we had started the semester off meeting, or not just rolling over a meeting time that did not work last semester. Last semester, we're aware that nobody came to the meetings.
I don't think it was
yourself, Madam President,
Yes.
were unable to make it to 2 semesters of meetings, but still got elected.
We also have new people, so everybody who wasn't able to make the meeting is different, which is why I asked your availability, and we kept it consistent with our last semester meeting, just to have something to start off with, but it can always change.
Do you know your availability offhand, or anybody willing to share, so we can put that in, I can put it in writing right off the bat? Do you know, can you give us?
I mean, if y'all just do a survey monkey, you can just alleviate all of that.
We can, I'm trying to get your input.
Well, I'm on campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
But again, if you do a survey monkey, we narrow it down to a time that works for the majority of them, and then majority of the students, and then reach a way to record the meetings so others who are not able to come to the meetings still able to be a part of it.
Which we'll
That was
discuss a
something
little
that was
bit more
within
of
the last
that.
semester.
Yeah, we'll discuss a little bit more of that in the report later.
So, a few of our appointed positions include parliamentarian and sergeant at arms. Keep in mind if you want to be either of the two. If you want to be either of the two, come see me after the meeting and I'll send you out a description. Yes, Bria?
Are we at the point where you're talking about the election?
Appointed position.
Okay, so are you gonna talk about the election that happened last semester?
Would you like to do that in public comments?
Sure.
Okay. So, who's new to student government? Like, who has not been a part of student government? Okay. So the next meeting, we're gonna partner up the new with the old. So you guys have a buddy, like a reference, someone to go to, a guide if you guys ever need help, if you have any questions or anything of that sort. And moving on to new business. So there's a food drive. Food insecurity is a big thing that's going on with our students. They're not having enough food and they often go out in the community, and when you don't have enough food, studying is hard, it just trickles down. So what do y'all think about doing a food drive? What y'all
It
think?
depends on how you want to do the food drive. I've been a part of 2 food drives here. The first one, the way we had it set up and structured, we had a really big turnout, but we weren't able to repeat the same thing the following year, so we didn't get so much as a big turnout. So hopefully it'll be reconsidered to do it the way we did it the first year.
What do y'all think about not making this exclusive to student government, but making it inclusive to the other student orgs and the entire student body?
That's awesome.
Can I ask, are the other organizations even active at this point, being that we just became active ourselves?
Yes,
they are.
Because nobody has meet times, like no place to meet. And I'm sure that being the president, you were aware that the student org offices were taken and not replaced before something else came into effect.
They're not necessarily taking
Let's
their.
stay with
because
what's
it's
on the
not done.
agenda right now, and then we can, once again, address that later. But if you're discussing the food drive right now, and in the absence of a sergeant at arms, I'll make sure you can stay on the agenda.
Well, in your experience doing food drive, what would you suggest we could do better in terms of turnout?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, the way we did it the first year, we actually had it in an area where it wasn't congested, like within the cafeteria. And we also, like, if you brought so many items, we'd give free food. We did a lot of marketing. We had
In
not
which
just
way?
students. We sent out emails. We had flyers up everywhere,
Okay.
word of mouth. We had a really big turnout, not just from the student, but also from the faculty. And so what we wanted to do was do like a competition thing last year. We were gonna do like a competition between the offices of the faculty and staff. Whichever office came up with the largest non-perishable food donation, they would get a pizza party. And our org was willing to pay for that, for the pizza for that office. But again, it was done differently. But yeah, that's a suggestion. We could do it that way. But that way we get a much bigger participation. Again, not from just the student body, but from the entire school.
So you would suggest more marketing and more awareness in terms of what's actually going on in regards to the food drive? You suggest that? Is that-
And also do it at each campus.
Okay. Yeah, don't make it exclusive.
Right.
Thank you.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Tapping into the resources that MATC already holds available to students and making them aware of it. Like you said, marketing with student engagement has not been its best. So we have abundance of resources and services that the students are not aware of. So if we could make that largely aware to the college itself, then those students can get those services that they need without even holding a food drive. So, like the resource event that's being held on the 2nd, like who is planning to be a part of that? Like, what is the outlook of that? Has anybody been a part of that here?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Or- That is,
Yeah.
that is the actual department, the student resource area. So Kim Gilmartin, that's actually her position here on campus.
It said, the
She
flyer
works-
that I seen, said that it was an Office of Student Life
It is, that's,
event.
she's from the Office of Student Life, that's where she's
Okay.
housed. So it is Kim Gilmartin, she also oversees Dream Keepers, but then also she's the one that hosts the student resource fairs. There was one last semester, in, I will say, partnership with like Walter and Lanier, with the 8th floor resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come out of space, but then also there's community partners that come.
Yeah,
as a part of it.
I seen the flyer, but I was wondering was like the student government or other organizations being a part of that rollout, so to speak.
It's not a role, like that's her actual job. So, how Job Shop has the different employers that come in, she does the actual resource fair.
Right, so I'm saying like if we're talking about trying to connect students with like a food drive, and that was just an idea, yes, that's not something that you guys have like already done. It's ideas of how you can do that. So I'm saying, have you guys tried to partner with this entity to try to bring them to the resources that already are available on campus? Office of Student Life gives out food vouchers. The Hunger Task Force has food bags for like hot food that people can take home. The Fast Fund has its resources where it has like food cards and all the rest of that. Like, have you guys reached out to try to partner with those entities that's already available to help the students be aware of them? Because again, the services are there, they're just not aware of them.
I agree with Bria on that one.
Yeah, it's a good
Like-
suggestion, very much so. I would ask to clarify a little bit, are you talking about in overall terms of student wellness, or are you talking about
Overall.
specifically in regards to the food drive, partnering with them to create more awareness or what have you? Or
Overall,
both?
there was a survey done, and Mrs. Brooks can speak to this, in fall semester of 2018 that stated that there were like hungry students on campus, you know, people struggling with housing or food or transportation issues. And the food was one of those top listed, but it also was housing as well. So yes, an overall wellness thing, but again, MATC has a lot of resources already. And through other partnerships outside of the school, they have fostered these, you know, partnerships to help benefit the students, but they're unaware of them. So if we don't bring them to the forefront, then are we doing our job as student senators, basically?
But that's what I was asking, more of a clarification.
On what part?
Of both, like,
Yeah.
of all of it, because
Yeah.
it was very, like, I need ideas, you know, to write down, very concise.
I mean, well, I think my ideas have been written down for 2 or 3 semesters. I met with Walter Lanier and spoke to him about a resource event the second week of school. And we were going to partner to do this, and last week I ended up seeing a flyer that said that it was going to take place on October 1st. But again, who knows about that? If I only seen it on Thursday myself, then how many other students seen it? You know what I'm saying? So can the students partner with these entities to help bring the resources to the students in a different manner?
Absolutely.
And yeah, Donovan?
I agree with what Bria was saying, because even last year, like the Black Student Union, like the opportunity to do the food drive just kind of fell in our lap, and it was a collaboration with multiple organizations, but we didn't really interact with the other organizations. All we really did was set these bins out, and they were just there. And so, granted, during that time, it was a weird shift that was kind of going on, but at the same time, like, if we're gonna do a food drive, we should be partnering with like this building services that we have, like the food services that we offer here and provide for the students that deal with food assistance and food aid and things like that, which should also look very different than what it was last year though, because that wasn't it wasn't the best it could have been.
So would you characterize that as being more organized and prepared?
I mean, it's beyond being more organized and prepared, because last year it really didn't happen if you think about it. We just sat bins out and we didn't tell anyone what they were for, why they were there.
So to piggyback off that versus just not having a food drive altogether, what about having the resources that we have come out and table at the actual event, so students who may not be aware of those services, they can talk directly to the people that can link them with the services. So I think that, so they can come out and take them out of that FH building and bring them over here. I think one of the issues is they are in the FH building. How many, so many students don't even know how to get there. They don't know what's over there. So it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So how can we get them to come over here a little bit more and advertise the services that they have for students? Now, piggybacking off of what Donovan said, to address more organizations being involved and collaborating, for those of us that came to the leadership conference that was held for student organizations, that would have been a great opportunity for other orgs to come and find out about the partnerships and kind of being more in communication with one another, moving forward this semester on.
And I piggyback a couple things off what you said. First, I'm going to piggyback off the leadership summit that you guys just had. The rollout for that was out the blue. Much like most of the rollouts for any events or services, pretty much come out the blue. They just fall in your lap. When we spoke about not having an SGA meeting for weeks, and then out of the blue, we got one on the docket. We spoke to having a resource week, and then out the blue, we have one on the docket. But again, it's no actual.
Can you specify?
I mean the school, like it's happening, but the rollout to it is not involved. It's not organized. It's not engaged. Last year, we advocated. I don't know how many times on different platforms to bring the services out of the FH building and have them take over the testing center, because it's in the student union and these are services for the students. So we say, hey, those services should be in the student union, in the building where the students can access. They don't got to go search for them. It's right there where they can find them. I'm hearing that it is underway, but while they are still in that motion, that we should bring those students out, those services out to the student union where they do tabling. So that is what's happening on October 1st. But again, how many students don't come to school on Tuesday? So how many of those students did you miss by only holding that resource event on that particular day? Make it a week event. Get a calendar out from these offices of Student Life, the FH building, to let people know that they are there. But you got to approach it in a different way. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting to change. If we don't approach it differently, we're going to continue to be stagnant.
So
but the services are there.
So maybe a monthly event. Like monthly, they come out from out from their building and like table, and then when they make they make the transition.
I think that would be a great idea until they make the transition.
So that way. What you say? I know mental health
does that.
They don't. I know the mental health people come out. I know mental health come out frequently.
Out of their office.
Yeah, they come frequently. But I think in regards just to tie it back into the food drive, maybe the food drive could be the kickoff for that initiative for them to come out more frequently, so students can be aware of the services that they offer. Because I totally agree, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and they should be more like in the light so you can, participate and get the services you need that's hindering your education.
And then I think another thing too is, even as students of the college ourselves, we are unfamiliar with all of the services that are available to students. So if a student was to come into our office like many did last semester, we didn't really even know where to take them. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't really know where the services were or where they offered or anything like that. So just being familiarizing yourself with those services, I think myself and Shaq and I think Darren just walked the halls and just collected information from all of these different resources and just compiled the information in the student government office. So if a student did come in and say, hey, I need transportation stuff, we knew where to send them. So we were knowledgeable ourselves and basically created sort of partnerships or networking with these different entities so that the students are able, hey, I can get a call over to that person right now, you know, and let them know I'm sending somebody up or something like that.
Or just walk the students to a destination.
But also, if you're not familiar with it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, based on my own experience, isn't it the Hunger Task Force is already on campus, the FH building?
Yeah.
Actually, my one of them there, it's she, and, you know, she gave me a full backpack of goodies.
Yeah. Also, the school has the MATC Believe in Students Fast Fund, who just did a press conference here maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And they made a partnership outside of MATC with Pete's Food Market, where they are like giving out food vouchers to students who have like food insecurities. Mm-hmm. Like, so again, being aware of those partnerships and those resources can help us out in abundance when trying to link the students with the resources.
Mm-hmm. What do y'all think about a lot of things that were mentioned, like comparing and contrasting of how it failed last year to how to make it better this year? What do you guys think about going into classrooms and speaking to people? Because we can post flyers and things like that, but oftentimes our students will walk past those. So what do you guys think about actually going face to face with students? Hey, letting you know.
Yes, I think that's a brilliant idea because I came up with it last semester. I said that we should, again, record our meetings. We have the PBS TV station here. We should always be introducing ourselves to the new incoming students and let them know who we are so they know our faces, let them know where our office is, and also going into those classrooms with not even just political science and paralegal and stuff, because those are the type of students that actually are interested in student government and would, you know, want to probably take a part. But yeah, again, entering into those classrooms would be a major asset to us, because then we have the input from the students, and it's not like a handful of students just making up plans and changes without any actual students that are not a part of student government. Mm-hmm. So that will be an awesome idea.
Does anybody else have any suggestions?
A resource binder. So kicking off with bringing it back to this food drive. Mm-hmm. So I think this could be a kickoff to something really great, because I'm hearing some great ideas. I think that a resource binder, what you were saying was you collected flyers and information from other places. I think that there should be, and kicking off with the food drive, so we know where to send students for food, and in the community, in the school, and out in the community. We should have an official resource binder from the school for every student organization and SGA. So if a student was to drop by the office and say, hey, I'm hungry, hey, I don't have transportation, I can open up that binder and say, okay, you can go get food from room whatever in the FH building. So that way you don't feel like you don't know, or if you don't know, you can flip open the binder and say, okay, I'm gonna take you here, I'm gonna walk you over, like Shaq said, I'm gonna walk you over to this room because you found it in that binder. And I think that this food drive could really kick off all of those great ideas. Going into the classrooms, like you both mentioned, walking people over to where the resources are, getting FH people to come out. I think this food drive will be, if we can do it effectively, adequately, then I think it could be a good start to a lot of other little things that, you know, need some change.
I think he has a great idea with the resource binder. I think he had a great idea with the resource binder. I think last year we spoke about using the pen boards that was outside the SGA office and using those as like resource pockets. Mm-hmm. Or using the board in SGA itself as a resource pocket where you can just have all of this information from inside of MATC and its partners and just in a community that these students can tap into. And also we have access to a TV, you know what I'm saying? We could put the information out there because everybody's not stopping to read, everybody's not reading their emails. So you gotta find different ways to engage the student, you know what I'm saying? Having raffles, hey, are you familiar with the resource? Putting a questionnaire out there on the TV, you know, something.
So the one question I have for you guys was like, do you want like a digital one for SGA, so we can like put one on SGA Drive, and then a physical one like in Office of Student Life and SGA office, and then maybe something, I know Office of Student Life is working on an app which will have like events on it, and maybe we can have like a place like on that app where there'll be like resource finder there as well. So if a student, once we show, like if we don't have our phones or we, can't have, or too far away from SGA room, then we can like be like, hey, here's the resource finder in this app, and if you have anything you want, you can like access, these are the rooms, these are the times that they're available. Is that what you guys talking about, kind of? Or
I'm let him answer first.
Don't we get like planners in the beginning of the year, or like even at orientation every year? Why don't they just include an entire section with all of the like room numbers and stuff on there? I mean, the resource binder would be good, and it would be helpful as well to have in the office. And I get that you're saying like to put them, or there has to be some other way that they can get to it besides just going to the office for SGA. And I get that you're saying like put it on the app, but who knows how long that app is going to take? Who knows like how many students are actually going to download that right away? I think we got to figure out some type of way to get that information to people faster, and all information really, because the boards aren't the best way. The TVs can be useful if they weren't muted, I guess. If there was like a video that had audio to it, that might be able to help. But I know that me personally, I don't pay attention to the boards, and a lot of students don't. Emails can be good if they get straight to the point, but sometimes they get long and we don't read all the way through that.
I totally agree with what he said. So I think we noticed that last year, student engagement was the winner, like actually getting out and engaging with the students. Keeping the SGA office open, having a table pretty much every day so somebody can hold their office hours that way with engaging the students. Last year, SGA voted to take away the 25 signatures. That showed that you could engage with the students, that you are willing to get out, shake some hands, and like really listen to the students. Because again, this is open forum. Any student could have came here today. They don't know, they don't know the ability that SGA has. They don't know what they do. They don't know where it's located, So once you fix those factors, I think you can really get into really helping the students,
Do you think it's a difference between not knowing versus they really don't care or it doesn't interest them? That's why they don't know?
I'm gonna say both. You know what? And I'm gonna say both. Look at where MATC is. You know what I'm saying? We're in the heart of it's like where everybody comes to go to school, and it's a stepping stone for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Black people come to MATC because it's like, okay, this is what I can afford. But
that's why
MATC. I'm just saying, like for the communities that MATC serves, the urban communities, 53206, and very under poverty.
Impoverished.
Yeah, like they service these students. So these students come here to the school with not all of the benefits that a lot of people came from. So a lot of privilege, basically.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let Regina speak real quick because she's been waiting for like 5 minutes.
Oh, I did not know. I'm sorry.
It's okay, no worries. We
It's
keep seeing you guys,
We're having a really good conversation. Let me just say that. I'm glad we have this SGA meeting today. It helps us to open up conversation for a lot of issues that we all want to not just speak on, but we want to do something about it. Now, when we did, the first year we did our food drive under the Also org, one of the things that helped it to be very successful was that engagement with students. And I actually took the opportunity to go to my instructors and ask, hey, can you give me a 3-minute platform just to of the classroom time, just so I can say, hey, we're having this food drive, blah, 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 bring what you can, et cetera, et cetera. And I had a lot of students show up in that first year. And I think that if all of us are representing SGA and other orgs, and we want to reach out to other students, I think, and you're sitting in a classroom next to people that are hungry. So why not ask your instructor? That's one thing you can do, that we all can do and be a part of it. And I think as that word of mouth is probably one of the biggest pluses you can have. I'm a business management degree person, so yeah, word of mouth is good. And then it's people that you know. So why not take advantage? You know, use the classroom. I was gonna say that. We said, what about speaking in the classroom? But yeah, that was we had a big turnout just because of that. Just because the students knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? I know you sit next to me in the classroom every Tuesday or whatever.
Probably felt more comfortable.
Going back to what Bria was saying, it's definitely not because students don't care. It's literally because most of us don't know. I'm a part of SGA, and I don't remember getting an email about this meeting. I knew this meeting was happening because I talked to Marissa, and I was also told that I was working this meeting like last week. So that's how I knew that this meeting was happening. But other than that, I don't remember receiving an email, and if I did, it must have been a long time ago because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. So it's definitely because students don't know. It's not because we don't want to be here.
Again, I'm going to say it's twofold because the economic makeup of MATC is not high schoolers. Everybody is not fresh out of high school and coming to get a college degree. A lot of the students here at MATC have families. They're head of that household, so they're working full-time jobs, probably 2 jobs for a lot of people, and then going to classes full-time. Go ahead.
What does that have to do with knowing versus not knowing? That's kind of
That actually has to do with a lot of your
Oh no, I see where you were going. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry to cut you off.
I'm trying to get some answers.
I think I connect with what you're saying. Like for me, for example, like
you don't know what you don't know.
What she's saying, like I may not care because personally for me, my income is well beyond that of the threshold. And so I'm not looking for a food drive. I'm not looking, and not every single person here is a impoverished person. They just come here because the education is cheap and I can afford to pay it. So I can understand people not caring because they don't need to know. Like she said, they may have 2 jobs, they are head of household, so they probably can afford or don't have some of the issues that other students face. So like you said, it is a twofold. Some people don't care because they don't have that issue.
So they don't have that issue, and a lot of them, again, we did a survey. You know what I'm saying? If they're homeless, they're not looking to come to a student government meeting. You know, they're trying to figure out where they're going to sleep tonight.
Exactly.
If they're hungry, they're looking for some food bank in the community, not knowing that the resources here at MATC to help them. You know what I'm saying? If they got children, they taking them to school, dropping them off, going to work. The oldest one probably at home by themselves. So it's a lot of different reasons. And like I said, you don't know what you don't know. Go ahead, man.
It has to deal with it. Well, you asked like, why does it have to deal with it? It has to deal with it because you got to know your demographic. You got to know that most of the people that go here are in and out students. They are busy. I work here and then I have 2 jobs outside of here as well, and I'm a full-time student. What we do is, that's most of us here. So you got to know, like, we got to plan things far in advance. We got to know about them so we fit them into our schedule.
I'll give you a personal example. I'm just like that. I'm an economic, I'm from an economic minority person or family. But I wanted to do this, so I sought it out. So what I'm asking you is, like, what would be the difference between someone who maybe wants to know and they don't know how, or someone who don't know how to get there, and someone who just wants to go to school and go home, for example?
So, did you find some students that just don't care?
When I say don't care, I need to rephrase. I say they're not interested in student government or any of the services. They just want to go to school and take their classes. And
how do you know if you haven't reached them yet?
Do you know why? You seem to, like, I don't want to say you're speaking for somebody, but you seem to feel like you have the answer to, like, well, everybody doesn't want to be a part of student government. Do you know why? Did you get a survey out? Did you go engage with these people?
That's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking.
So we did a survey last year, and I believe it was either 95 to 97% of people in the school did not realize that we had SGA, or what SGA stands for, right? And a lot of, the average age of a college student at MATC is 27, and that's why they say, that a lot of these people are either, they started here when they first got out of high school, and then something happened in their life where they had to leave. And now they're restarting. Let's say they've been at a job for 30 years and they're like, this is it, I don't want to do this job anymore, like I'm going to get a degree in something that I know I love and I'm going to do.
That's what happened to me.
And, and I mean, in this room, like, for example, Tequila, she has her own business, she takes care of her kids, she's a full-time student, and does all that. Like, like, you heard what Donovan does, like, me personally, like, I work at school, full-time student, and then, like, I take care of my family because like they don't speak English. So like, you know, there's a lot of things that happens, and so, and I understand where you're coming from, as in like you're trying to understand, you know, if someone wants something, you know, why aren't they seeking it out? And what they're trying to say is that like a lot of these people don't know that this is available for them, you know, and they don't realize, you know, and when someone says like SGA, you know, people usually think, oh, it's just another organization. They don't understand that SGA, unlike any other school organization, is a requirement by federal government to be implemented in every university to make sure that students have a voice in governing and how the money is being spent. You know, so unlike any other organization, if they close down, that's fine. But every school has to have an SGA because that is a requirement, and that's and people misunderstand the role of SGA as other clubs. You know, like SGA is there to like if students have an issue, a really big issue. For example, with homelessness, you know, we have four emergency beds, and they have been filled even before school started. We had agreement for apartments for like 30 to 50 apartments, I believe, and those have been filled out. So you know, we are trying. Go ahead, Chuck.
Just one question. When did you guys start doing that, the emergency bed thing? We gotta start doing that.
Diversity bed.
The emergency.
Emergency bed.
Say that because, you know, he's a part of student government and not even aware of the services that we offer.
Like,
Emergency housing.
yeah, emergency
It's-
housing.
The original contract started whenever 1125 opened, so
Yeah, so
that's
it's
4 years.
Oh,
so
interesting.
we already, I believe it has been implemented. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so, you know, and that's the thing, is the thing that we deal with is like, for example, the next big issue that's coming up is that they're going to be canceling some bus lines. And we, as students, you know, our administration has tried to do everything they can, but this is like a city of Milwaukee decision. So we as students now have to find a way to collaboratively come together and be like, we as students here at this university, at UW Milwaukee, at Marquette, and any other ones that will be affected by it, come together and find some kind of way to let the county know that that's something that we use and that's something that we want our taxpayer dollars to keep being used for. And that's the thing, is that people think that they compare SGA to other organizations where they're like, oh, well, we're gonna put on this event when people are gonna come and have food, they're gonna dance, or they're gonna, like, no, this is different. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is that this organization has power that other organization may not. We respect every organization, but in this organization, it meant to make changes to the structure of institution if we find that they are not concurrent with what we believe.
I guess in the interest of time, is there any direct action points for this topic before we move on to the agenda?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So are we gonna move forward or table it for the next meeting, or is there a time frame where you want to start planning the school drive?
Yeah, would y'all like to set up like a committee, right? And have people
Yeah.
join on to like work it, figure out a date, what time work best.
So are y'all
Might create a
interested
survey.
in getting that going?
I think it will work.
Absolutely.
I think it would work.
Would anyone like to propose a motion to create a committee?
I agree and propose a motion to create a committee for a food drive being held with SGA. I think we should partner with other entities, not make it like an SGA exclusive thing. So
Okay.
other organizations, Foundation Hall, resources, partner with them.
I'll second her motion.
See your name?
Randall Wright will second that motion.
You just have to say in favor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it passes.
Okay.
We're gonna set a deadline for it, or who wants to sign up for it?
Okay, all opposed?
You say
Okay.
decision passes unanimously.
Okay, decision passes.
So,
Very interesting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to speak. My name is Hamilton Chambers. And I'm new here at MATC this semester.
Welcome.
What's up?
I plan on joining you all here with student government, being active with you all, and one thing that I'd like to look forward to is student government becoming a team. I was part of student government at Gateway Technical College, UW Parkside, and at UW Parkside I was part of Self-Defense Club, and Gateway I was part of the on-campus and off-campus activities. Like the city would have an event, I'd show up there and support the city's movement to help engage in recreational activities and such. But one thing that I was going to mention was if there's anything that come up, I'd like to know, since this is my first time being at one of the meetings.
There's a sign up sheet still on with the email. I just want to make sure the gentleman was that it?
Yes, so far, yes, that's it.
Okay.
I hope everybody's looking forward to going out to a vote this coming election, presidential vote. It's a big debate, It's a big debate.
Right.
Sorry, across the
Thank
street.
you for joining. Thank you for joining us. So, welcome back, everyone. My name is Amanda Brooks, coordinator of student life and advisor for the Milwaukee Downtown Student Government Association. So happy that the e-board has gotten together and selected to kick off student government today. So, welcome. Over here. Congratulations to you guys. We had 3 returning from the spring semester, and Max, are we gonna go with Max? Okay, Max, I like the full, we'll go with Max.
You can use the full.
And Maximilian is our new secretary that was recently elected. So congratulations and thank you guys for stepping up to leadership positions.
Welcome.
So first couple things that we are going to, or I'll go over. DS, you heard me earlier today. I said DSS at first, but yeah.
I have a question. Is this your advisory report?
Yes.
Do we get a copy of this?
No.
I believe last semester we voted unanimously that you report your advisory reports in hard copy.
And we met with that as well as with the director, and that is not in our newest constitution, and all campuses have to be aligned. So
This
with
was
that
in
being,
fact prior to the change of the constitution, which we did not vote on, so
it will be
technically, the constitution, the newest constitution does not stand here today.
we can talk offline, or you can book an appointment with your SGA president.
I prefer to
as
speak in
well
open
as
forum.
Then if you want to bring that up in your public comments, but right now I'm doing my advisory report.
And I'm asking about that right now because your advisory report should be in hard copy. We voted on it.
The advisor for the District Student Government Association, we have gone over that information, and that is not the direction that we're moving in.
We voted on it.
That is not the direction we're moving in, because all campuses have to be aligned with that. And all campuses are not aligned.
All campuses was not in line when we changed the 25 signatures and an abundance of other things, Mrs. Brooks, but we went with those anyhow.
Okay, I will continue with my advisory report.
I'm gonna let you do that, but I'm letting it know on the record that, so Secretary
And
Max,
for
that
the-
you should be writing this in your
I'm gonna
notes.
ask that you don't cut me off and let me finish. What the advisory report will look like moving forward, things that, I think I talked to Marissa about that need to be actually in a document, but just verbal updates. It's not an advisory report. All right, moving forward, the leadership summit. So last week, Friday, there was a leadership summit. A few e-boards came out. It was mainly a lot of downtown student orgs and advisors. So I think it was a great opportunity for executive boards to get that first level of the changes that are going on and some of the key presentations. I will say out of that, the biggest presentation, those of you that did vote in the election were introduced to that app. We're calling it an app, but it's not really an app, it's actually a site, Campus Labs. And moving in the direction of campus labs is going to be that engagement software. We will have actual formal training on it, but if you did vote, you've already signed up for your account. Within that, you also will see different tabs, and as we build things out, I think someone asked about re-registering student orgs. So you'll see the student org pages there, and we have had some that have been trickling in, so there are some reactivations of student orgs already. One other thing to address that came up is the student org offices. We talked about that at the Leadership Summit. Those orgs that are offices will be updated. The advisors this summer were contacted and met with the manager of student life as well as the director of student life and in the direction that we're moving. So one of the things and challenges that we had here at the Milwaukee Downtown campus is space, as we know. Office space, not just for students, but just in general, running out of space here. And we wanted to make sure that things were fair for all student orgs. Last year we had 20 student orgs that were actually registered, but only 6 student orgs had offices. A lot of our student orgs that are connected directly to academics don't have a space as well. So what we wanted to do, which is actually a national model that a lot of schools are moving to, and myself as well as Director Burrows talked to some of our colleagues in the field and really had an opportunity to understand how can we create collaborative space for our student organizations. And they really have developed these engagement rooms, or really student org rooms, versus isolated offices. So with these engagement rooms, we are fortunate at the downtown campus that we will have 2 of them. Construction services is working and getting them back online, so finishing the renovations, getting everything painted. The furniture is really the piece that takes the longest. Custom built furniture, it takes 10 weeks. So the hope originally was mid-October. Hopefully we can still stay online with that, but we just can't control when the furniture is built. Emergency housing, that was the, thank you Yamo for bringing that up. Yamo brought up a really good point. Emergency housing has been full since the beginning of school. We have 4 bed spaces. I know a lot of students have come, and that means you guys really are doing your job as student leaders with getting the word out there. And so students have been coming to the office. I want you guys as student leaders to know that we really are working on creating what that wait list does look like. And as students transition out without their days, it is then the next person in line that, if they are still in need of the resources. We still connect people with Kim Gilmartin to see if Dream Keepers is something that in the meantime can assist them in any way, as well as the other resources that we have for students, which is some of the other shelters that we work with.
So we do have like community partners for people who need emergency housing if we can't do that?
Yes, we have a couple shelters that we've worked with. It's not a direct partnership, so I don't want it to say that if they don't get here, they automatically, it's not that type of partnership. But they have been really good with working with our students and understanding that we're full. One of the issues I will say for shelters and our students, external shelters have a lot of rules and regulations, and it does not always work for our students. One of the biggest thing is technology in a shelter. Many of them do not have Wi-Fi, and many of them you cannot actually use electronics, only in certain isolated areas. So our students that do have to utilize shelters are not sometimes able to use electronics after 7 p.m. as well as if you're in night classes, you have to be at the shelter by a certain time. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I think that is pretty much so it. I do like the things that came up in the meeting today. I think it's great that you guys are having the mindset of what else can we do to add value, and I think that that is really the direction that we need to continue to go in. How are we going to add value to student government? How are we adding value to our student body at large? I would encourage you definitely to continue to work on the shift in narrative of they or them to we. If you are a part of student government, it truly is a we. We are in this together and working together within that. Also, to have the shift in narrative where we are one district. As we know with Guided Pathways, the biggest thing that we are one campus, we are one college with different locations. So right now we just happen to be at the downtown campus, but as we know, we have students that take maybe one class here as well as West Dallas. So that is why we're trying to build as much consistency as possible, that the student experience mirrors no matter where you are taking classes. So I will yield back to Vice President.
DSS report, DSS is turned to DSGA, so District Student Government Association. We will send you an email when those meetings will reconvene. It's when all 4 districts get together, for those who do not know. When all 4 districts get together and we have a meeting similar to this, but on a bigger scale of what we can do as a whole. So it's a really great thing to get involved with, to meet people who may attend MECWAN that you might not see. WSG is a little bit different. It's our Wisconsin, it's a state student government, so we meet with the other 16 technical colleges in the state of Wisconsin, and we discuss issues such as those as I brought up earlier, like talking to our senators and state reps and things of that sort. And it's also a great opportunity to see what people are going, what people from other schools across Wisconsin are doing, so like Wausau and things like that. And it's also a good thing to take and revamp to like tweak for us. So that's the WSG report. And
I'm sorry, who are our representatives for the WSG? Are those, that's the governor, lieutenant governor positions that do that?
Yes,
Yeah.
so Willie Robinson is our governor.
Previous President Willie?
Yes.
Oh.
He is our governor for WSG, and we will select our lieutenant governor at the DSGA meeting. And those are our 2 reps that go to those meetings. But you guys can always attend.
What are the calendar dates for that?
We'll send them out because the school year just recently started, so when we get those dates, we'll make sure everyone knows.
I just actually have to be timely fashion, so you can make sure they schedule for it.
Okay. Public comments?
We're missing one, I'm sorry, Madam President. There's one report that's missing, so I would ask if we can add that and reflect it in the minutes, the treasury report.
Oh, okay. So for the treasury report, for the student government office supplies, we have 1,200. And for the student government special projects, we have 4,000. And for the student government HTA projects, we have $1,000.
What was the last one you said?
Just the legislative
Yeah.
projects.
Student government.
So like when I was talking about if we want to do something with other schools about trying to get, you know, something changed in legislative, either within the city or within the state, you know, we can use that money to
What is the 4,000?
Student government special projects.
and that basically refers to anything we want to do as a SGA within our campus. What was the total number that I missed?
Student
Supplies.
government office supplies.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I have like abundance of questions here, so I don't know how much time y'all got, but I do have like a lot.
Oh, I just got one comment. Since you got more than me, can I just, I just
Go
mine
ahead.
is quick? 'Cause I'm like, mine is quick. Just one brief.
One
question.
Whoever has my question, go first.
Okay,
She's totally honest.
I'll wait, because it's actually more so for Amanda than, or for, so Ms. Brooks, I just have a question. So we talked about emergency housing like a few times throughout the meeting. So I wanted to know if we can get like some official reports or statistics on how many students apply each year, how much that costs, because it sounds like that's something that we should be addressing, that there's only 4 beds for emergency housing and we have thousands of students. So
You're saying, what is the, I can tell you the cost.
the cost, and then, so that, you know, what's the cost for the school? what is the?
Are you asking me like right now?
No, you don't. No. To furnish for maybe the next meeting.
Okay.
No, you don't have to give it to me right now. To furnish for the next meeting, so that you have appropriate
So
time
what
to
is
gather.
the cost
So what's
of
the
emergency?
cost? What's the statistics? How many students are applying for these emergency beds every year? Let's say every year.
Every semester.
Yeah, semester.
Every
That's
semester,
really-
break it down every semester, because I know they only get so much time in between, some of these days. What's the criteria and how much time do they get in emergency housing? What's the
criteria?
Yeah, what's the criteria to get into emergency housing? Because I know me and you have spoke offline about a particular situation, so I just wanted to address criteria, and then I think those are some good.
And how can we
What is
get
the
more
cost of
beds?
emergency housing? What is the criteria?
What's the criteria? What's the cost? What's the statistics per semester on how many students are applying? We already know we only have 4 beds. And then what are some suggestions, and I guess that's something that we'll talk about amongst each other, that we can get more emergency housing. Me and Marissa have talked offline about this, about writing a resolution. And I know Marissa has reached out. We're going to reach out to Director Burrows to learn how to write a resolution. Oh no, they're going to do some workshops, if I'm not mistaken, to teach us.
The summit didn't do that?
Not yet. It's the summit is a series, so they're going to show and teach us how to do those resolutions, because I think that would be something that we could do collaboratively. And so that's all I got, because I know you guys.
I mean, no, that's a very good one, because again, if we not tying into student issues, again, we not doing our job as student leaders, period. And we understand that housing and food was the top 2 issues that MATC students was facing. So strategizing on how to meet them or create some partnerships, I think is freaking awesome. Now I have several questions.
I got one question.
Go ahead.
Okay, fast forwarding, the DNC in July. Will SGA have any official participation as far as being representing who we are?
I'm trying to simmer on these questions.
Good question. We can come up with something together and figure out what we want to do and make our presence known there. So we have plenty of time to plan that out. So I think that would be great.
And we have a lot of resources and connections. I actually know the Democratic chair for Milwaukee County, so.
So,
Awesome.
I just wanna, if anyone wants to right now create a committee. That,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, so we'll put into action, so if someone wants to create a, put in a motion, so we create a committee now.
I'm sorry. Do you have your list of all
a
the,
motion.
She read.
do you list your next meeting, so you have all the committees? Because that would be your legislative committee.
Yeah, so I do have it here, but I'm on the SGA Google Drive.
I'm sorry, do you want to do them one-offs, or do you want to present all of your committees so people know what committees there are?
Oh,
Does that make sense?
I think you do them as they come, to be honest.
so I think we can put this one under legislative right now, and then in the next meeting when we have completed the list of everyone who's eligible to be here, and then we can present it. But we can't put on the legislative committee, and then if anyone wants to put in the motion and then volunteer to be the head of that.
But that's what I'm saying, you don't need a motion for a committee that's already,
Okay.
that's on the books, do you know what I'm saying? So there's already a legislative committee.
All right.
So is that gonna go underneath that,
Yeah.
or are you saying a
Do you want to
separate-
make a special one? Gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to get clarity on.
Does anyone want to volunteer to take this project?
I think what y'all said before, and I will step myself. If you have the committee already set up, get the list of the students that are active in student government, and then ask who wants to be a part of those different committees.
We can do that. However, I do want someone to be in charge of the committee itself right now, so we can have a general outline. They can be followed. So because it's a huge thing, DNC coming here, and we want to be preparing as much time as possible.
But I think that's what I'm saying, so someone doesn't, maybe you should present all of your committees so
Gotcha.
people know what committees they're picking from.
So the committees that we have are, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, do we want to table this for the next meeting, because we are running out of time, and she does have some questions that she wants to ask, and I think that's something that could be tabled for the next meeting. that's just,
So just put it on the agenda that we're gonna talk about the committees.
Yeah, so tabling discussion of
I do have a question though about the committees.
Appointing-
Does e-board member have to be head of the committee
No.
or just any senator?
any student, any
All
senator.
right, there we go. Yes, Shay? You talking politically?
Okay, I'm wondering what can we do to help students suffering from mental illness and depression here on campus? That's a very big issue. I feel that a lot of times being swept underneath the rug. And I do think we should help students that's dealing with that.
So as far as I know,
I know we can only do so much, but
we do have counseling on campus, and we do have trained staff. We have staff has training with counseling as well as mediation, and I believe how many sessions do you get before we refer you to community
3.
service?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, so
And
But each campus has at least one
I'm
crisis
aware that
counselor.
we have Kay Cunningham as crisis counselor. What's so odd to me, a lot of students do not know that she's our crisis counselor. So possibly like we can kind of put that out there that she's there to talk to. Huh?
That's not odd.
Well, you know what I mean.
We
But,
talked about it the whole time.
kind of put that out there that she's there to talk to students and stuff.
so
Because a lot of students don't know about Ms. Cunningham.
So for mental health services, you want us to create more awareness, is
Yes.
that what I'm hearing? And then find ways to inform students that there is help available.
Yes.
And then possibly expand it if we find that there's much more need than previously thought.
Yeah.
Shay, what do you think about doing a table talk for mental health?
I think that would be awesome. I actually met with Dr. I don't know his last name, Dr. Mark. And I know he don't have anything in motion right now, but I know he's like trying to get someone to actually more people to come help students. And he wanted me to do some things over at Oak Creek, whatever. So I'm definitely trying to push for that, and I would love to be. Well, I don't really have everything planned out, but I just see the importance of having that because so many students that suffer from that. So.
Do we have like do we have like a mental health awareness week yet, or suicide prevention week?
That came up already. Suicide
Okay.
prevention came up already.
I know that they have the mental services. but-
yep, we have.
There's a mental health day in October.
You know what that?
I think it's October 10th, but I have to double check on that. And I believe there's Mental Health Awareness Week, one of the first 3 months of the new year. So we can definitely do something for either that month or that day, or both, even just whatever y'all decide.
Maybe even a mental health and wellness committee, that's your job to focus on how we can get awareness about the different, not just mental health, because that is a very large aspect, but some of the other health issues that people in this demographic face. You know, being of a lesser economic status, you face a lot more health issues than people who are a little bit more privileged. You may not go to the doctor as much. People may not know that they can go to the fast track clinic at Freighter. So I think that, you know, once again, a conversation table for the next time with the committees, and maybe a health and wellness committee, and they can oversee that, all of that, mental health and everything, and make sure we get the appropriate awareness for all of the health issues that we face in our community.
Awesome.
Can I turn now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna just start off by saying I agree with a lot of what we talked about today, as I voiced many of these concerns in previous semesters. I am so happy that we have finally came to have our first meeting, which many of you guys know that I've outwardly spoken against student life and your positions, many of your positions today here as student government e-board members. And I first want to say that there is not a personal agenda with my concerns. It has just been, in my mind, a systematic type of way of keeping students bottled up and in a direction that the school wants to see them go. Again, as student leaders, we should be given some type of autonomy to help meet the needs of the students that we serve as student government leaders and members. The election last semester was a total wash. in my mind. I felt like it should have never happened. And comparing last year's election to the election that we just recently had, pairing that to the election that we just recently had last semester, we were all sitting around the table, and Yamo can attest to this. We were sitting around the table ready to vote for people that we want to see in e-board positions, and Yamo was one of them because he had my vote as president. We were then told that we could not vote because students hadn't been given enough time to vote, and that we hadn't voted on it in prior meetings or whatever, and they basically canceled our election and said, hey, no, you gotta give 2 weeks and everybody should be involved in this process. And for me, it came from a place where I had spoken about involvement in a college-wide position, but was told over and over again that the bylaws were totally fine. The Constitution was totally fine. We did not need to rewrite it so we can handle our election the way that we wanted to handle it. Moving forward, we again tried to handle our election the way that we wanted to, and was told that we could not do so. We looked today that we got an email on a Monday and was said, hey, vote by Wednesday. That shows one instance right there where, again, they do things, the school, the Office of Student Life does things the way that they want. So I was ultimately opposed to you being our president, Mrs. Nichols. I'm gonna say that, not Miranda. But for reasons that I felt, as if the Office of Student Life handpicked their student leaders. They chose who they wanted to be in these seats, people who did not speak up, who would not
Why do
go.
you feel that way?
I think a lot of people know, but
That's
I'm
a
sorry,
different
let her finish.
Yeah, that's the
yeah, I mean, like, I don't even want to go into it. You missed a lot not being a part of student government
Well,
and previous years.
as one of the e-board members, sorry, I'm not really, I'm new
I get it.
on the lingo. I'm trying to understand why you feel that way. You know, if you say all these things, which you have a right to and all that fun jazz, why? Why do you feel that way, so I can understand?
Again,
Just saying it is
I'm-
your opinion and has no bearing on making a change,
I
you know?
get it.
So
Again,
if you tell us why,
you weren't
instead
here.
of just doing everything, saying everything.
Okay, I understand you weren't here, and I'm not gonna divulge into that because we don't have enough time. But I will say that many of the people here in this room are aware of the issues that I raised on several platforms, being student government, going to the MATC's board, going directly to speak to Mrs. Brooks and also Director Burrows and many other of their colleagues. So my issues have been addressed in the school's paper and everything else, followed up by voice recordings, followed up by emails, and so on. So I'm not just outwardly
Sorry to
speaking.
interrupt you. Would you be comfortable explaining to me after we're done why on a one-on-one basis?
If I have time, I will.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, if I have time, I will. But anyhow, I look forward to working with you, Marissa. I look forward to working with many of y'all. I do want to say that, I opposed it because I felt like it was not done with integrity. I didn't feel like it was done with autonomy to the student leaders themselves. And I spoke, I think, to Donovan and what do you call her, the editor of the MATC Times, and I said, let's get a parlay together. You know what I'm saying? Let's not go into the next semester without actually making change for the students. Because if we're fighting amongst each other, if we're bickering about who has what seat and this, that, and the other, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to waste another semester, and it's just going to be 3 years I was part of student government and said, well, what did you do when you was part of it? What change did you guys make? What type of impact did you guys make? And I don't want to leave here saying that we did not make a change in the students' lives for the better. So, again, I look...
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I want to comment. I like to speak openly. So, all in general, she does have a point. She has, her right to, freedom of speech and everything. But as far as, accomplishing and helping, we can only do what we can. I'm in the criminal justice law enforcement program, and I have a law enforcement skill or an enforcement skill method where you would seek things out thoroughly. I mean, like, everybody gets to waive their own motion, and then you hear each other out, I mean, it isn't really like what seat you play in, it's being a part of a team. I mean, as long as the team can focus on a goal, no matter what game you're playing, they will score at least 1 point. And there will be a lesson learned. I mean, and like I said, I'm here. I want to go on that journey with you all, and we can figure out, where things go, or what we all can open up with and share about what happened and didn't happen that we were expecting, But we have to put our chemistry together, as a team, and to make a formula that we can put into, our lives, to make our lives run better, more efficient. So that's where it starts there, with the teamwork.
Getting back to my point was, again, like you said, teamwork. I could spend the entire semester opposing why you guys are sitting at that table. But where does it get me? Where does it get the students? So I came here today to see what we can do to help meet the student needs at MATC. And not just the downtown campus or anything like that, but how can we work together and not, again, be an events committee, because that's what we've seen for past SGAs. It was like, okay, hold an event, hold an event, hold an event. But none of those events tied into student issues. So if we can work together to meet those student needs, you don't have any opposal for me. Because again, why waste time that we could be using to actually be helping those students? Go ahead.
I just want to make a note that you have mentioned a lot of things, but at the end of the day, having worked with you, I know that deep down you have always put students first.
That's right.
And that was your thing, you were always trying to help us focus on, like you said, making students our main priority. And as I was explaining earlier, some people have a misunderstanding of what Student Government Association is.
Yeah.
And, so that's might be why there was some headbutting and stuff like that. But I just want to make sure that there is no misunderstanding between, or there's no misrepresentation of you just because of, how you felt of what happened in the past.
I appreciate that.
That you are very much appreciated member of this school. And with, your opinion is very important to us because, if we didn't have it, we would be missing a total huge part that we wouldn't be helping the students.
I appreciate
And
that.
I just want to make sure that people know that those who haven't been here during the last semester, that during all the meetings, your main priority has always been to help students and make sure that we, at the end of the day, make their lives better and we leave behind a legacy that the next student government can pick up and create a better student life and better student situation for those that go to MATC and all the
I really
campuses.
appreciate that, that means a lot. Because my character here at MATC has been attacked over the last semester, and hey, she just mean and she just causing trouble for no reason. There was a method to all of my madness. There was a reason. There was always a cause and effect. And I just felt like I was being hindered, and I spoke out about that.
Yes, I'd like to mention that too. This is just my first semester here. When I first came here to sign up, I thought, that I'd sign up and write, but it took time to get the paperwork done. It was like in 2015. 2014, I started at Gateway Technical College. And the beginning of 2019, I was at Parkside, just the last semester that just passed, and this semester, I'm here at MATC. And yes, I had a lot of experiences in college, and just some people are just not that leader, because they are quick to make decisions based on something they don't understand themselves, and so you maybe are one of those people who are against those people because you want to be a leader, and it's hard for you, so I can understand that. That's what I sensed, that's what I read through how you were expressing that yourself about that. But I think it can happen. I mean, we just have to do just that, listen to each other and understand. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. First of all, I'm happy to be in a room with everybody here. And all of us here, we have something that we can contribute. We all have something that we can give. And so I think if we put all of what we have together, we make a great team. I know me and Bree have bumped heads.
I love
We're both strong-willed, and but I do know she has a passion. She knows I have a passion to help others, and again, I think if we can, and Marissa has a passion. She has served in different organizations and has always made herself available. Yamo, I think that, you know, if we put all what we have together, man, we're gonna make an amazing team that will turn this whole school upside down and turn it around and get in the right direction. So let's all just work together. We can disagree agreeably. That's not a problem. And I think that when you have opposition, that helps to make us stronger as a unit. So if everybody can be on one accord and don't take things personal, but let's make sure that we all come together for one common goal, and let's work towards that goal. We're gonna be okay. Again, we may have some disagreements. Everybody here is respected, by the way. You know, I hate for somebody to walk out of here feeling not respected. I respect each and every one of you as my fellow students, and I hold you as a high regard. I appreciate any of you all who are serving on the e-board. You're appreciated. I appreciate all of my other students here that we're all a part of this. But let's just make sure we're all in one accord and we come together. We're not here to fight against anybody. We're just here to take it to another level and help our students. That's what we're all joining SGA for.
So I just want to say that this has been a great meeting. We've had great discussion, and we're going to take this discussion and put it into action. So with that being said, we're going to adjourn the meeting at 2:20 p.m.
Someone has to, I believe, motion. Yeah, so,
I'm Regina Ivy, I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
anyone like to second it?
I ran Riley, second that motion.
You ask.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.